Hello champions and future champions, hello Chessmood family, Avetik is with you and welcome to the first daily lesson. Today's topic is gonna be the useless bishop and weak pawns. Before we go ahead, I offer you to pause the video, evaluate the position and find a plan for white. Here is white to move. Okay. When we evaluating any kind of position, at first we look at the material and we start with the pieces. So here we can notice that pieces are equal. Both of us has rooks and both of us has 3 minor pieces. So we have 2 rooks, 3 pieces. Opponent also has 2 rooks and 3 minor pieces. The pawns are equal. We have 6 pawns, opponent has 6 pawns. What else we can notice here? There is E open line and it belongs to no one, not to white, not to black. There is also H half open line, which belongs to white. There is also C half open line, which most probably after rook c8 move will belong to black. However, here b2 pawn defends the c3 pawn very comfortably, and on c8 opponent rook cannot do much. And there is another 2 details in the position. First, we have here opposite color bishops. And the last one, and very important one, opponent here has a d5 weakness. In our camp, for white we don't have any weakness, we don't have any weak pawn. However, opponent has a d5 pawn. Well, if we didn't have a d4 pawn, it would be easier for us at some point with using the d line to attack the d5 pawn. But we have d4 pawn, and it's gonna be much tougher for us to attack the d5 pawn. But still, it's gonna be a weakness. We need to find a plan how we are going to put pressure on opponent's only weakness on d5 pawn. Here again I offer you to pause the video and think about plan because we have done with evaluating the position. Okay, usually when with all our pieces we attack opponent weakness, in this case the d5 pawn, opponent can also with all his pieces defend his weakness, and then what? Gonna be not clear how to continue. Later in the daily lessons we will speak about another technique, creating the second weakness, but today is another thing. As we noticed already, on the board there is opposite color bishops, and here an interesting thing is happening. If with our bishop we attack the d5 pawn, opponent cannot with his bishop defend the d5 pawn. What we are going to do? We are going to keep our minor pieces and not allow opponent to exchange his useless bishop on our knight. In other words, we are going to exchange opponent's defenders. For example, the knight on f6, we will be fine for exchanging the knights, but we are going to leave opponent's bishop on d6 on the board and with all our pieces attack the d5 pawn. This is going to be the plan. Now opponent wants to take on f4, and if we defend it, anyway, he will take on f4 and get rid of his useless bishop on d6. So the move is knight h5. We are attacking the f6 knight, which is defending the d5 pawn, and also the h7 pawn. So it's good for us to remove this defender from the board. Also now g5 pawn hangs. Black took knight h5, rook h5. Now we are attacking the d5 pawn and at the same time h7 pawn. However, after knight e7, we cannot take the h7, because after bishop h7 or rook h7, after taking this, opponent will play g6, and sooner or less he will trap our bishop on h7, playing king f8, king g7, rook h8, if we defend it with the rook on h1, so this bishop we will lose. So what we do after knight e7? Rook a h1. Bringing the last piece to the game and attacking the h7 pawn. Now we want to take rook h7, because after rook h7, next we will take with rook, not with the bishop. Opponent should play h6, right? And now we have a very good rook on h5. Opponent cannot play g6, because we will take the h6 pawn. Now what we do? Here is the second stage of our plan. We need to attack the d5 pawn with our 2 pieces. How to do that? I offer you to pause the video and think. Okay, the knight is going to attack the d5 pawn from e3, and the bishop is going to attack the d5 pawn from b3. Knight f1 was played in the game. Knight is going to e3. Long castle. What to do now? It looks like knight e3. However, after knight e3, black can play bishop f4 and try to exchange his useless bishop on our knight. So that's why first we play g3, preparing knight e3, so opponent cannot give his useless bishop to our strong knight. Rook he8 was played in the game, knight e3, a6. Black cannot do much and actually waiting for black. Also, we cannot take the d5 pawn because of our king's position. After knight d5, it's gonna be knight d5 with a discover check, and we cannot take the d5 knight. So, king f3. We could also play king f1 or king d2, but it's an endgame, so king is fine here on f3. Here, we are already threatening to take on d5. Black played bishop c7, and what to do now? Okay, the bishop on d3 is not doing anything, so it's time to transfer him. Bishop c2, bishop is going to b3 attacking the d5 pawn. Black played rook d6, with the idea after bishop b3 to play rook e d8. Now, with 1, 2, 3 pieces we are attacking the d5 pawn, opponent is defending this pawn with 1, 2, 3 pieces. However, if we also attack with the 4th piece, opponent cannot defend it with his 4th piece because he is opposite color and he is very useless in this case. King g2 was played, white didn't hurry up, b6, and here I offer you to pause the video and think for a plan. Okay, we need to bring another rook to the game and attack the d5 pawn, right? However, it's not easy to do. If we play now rook e5 with the idea to play next rook 1 h5 and then with 4 pieces attack the d5 pawn, opponent can play rook 6 d7 attacking our rook on e5, and we don't have time to play rook h5. If we try to play here knight f5, interesting idea, exchange the knights, attacking the d6 and knight on e7, so black should exchange the knights, he cannot avoid. After knight f5, rook f5, we attack the f7 pawn. However, the problem is that after rook 8 d7, when black defends the f7 pawn, we still cannot play rook h5 move, because opponent will play here g6 and we will lose one of our rooks. So let's go back and think what we can do. And here comes another tip. We are attacking the d5 pawn with 3 pieces. We need to bring the rook on h1, and here is an interesting technique. It's not always we will attack opponent weakness, but we will attack another pawn, disrupting opponent pieces from defending the d5 pawn. Now, what if we attack with this rook on one of these pawns, f7 and g7? Opponent cannot defend these pawns with these 3 pieces because they are very busy defending the d5 pawn. So here we go, rook 1 h4. Rook is going to attack f7 and g7 pawns. Black cannot do anything. In the game, black played king b8. Now looks like rook g4 is very good, because opponent cannot play rook g8, he's defending the d5 pawn. Opponent cannot play g6 because h6 will hang. However, after rook g4, black can play g5. And now rook g4 has little bit issues. We cannot take, by the way, h6 pawn, because rook d6 defends it. And now black is threatening to play f5, and our rook on g4 will be trapped. That's why first we attack the f7 pawn, playing rook f4. Opponent cannot play rook f8, because he is busy defending the d5 pawn. How to defend the f7 pawn? The only way is f6, and now rook g4. Now we attack the g7 pawn, and there is no defense. Rook g8 is impossible because we'll take the d5 pawn, and also opponent if he plays g6 or g5, now his pawn is on f6 and rook is not defending the h6 pawn. And here black is losing one of the pawns, d5 or g7. Later, white successfully converted the advantage. It was a blitz game and it was mind game. Sometimes I play good too. So let's go back and see what happened from the initial position. The plan was to keep opponent useless bishop, which is not defending the d5 pawn. We can exchange other pieces, but whatever piece we exchange, we are going to keep opponent useless bishop on d6 on the board. So knight h5. Now we want to exchange the defender of d5 pawn, and after knight h5, rook h5, we are attacking the h7 pawn and also the d5. Knight e7, We cannot take h7 because the bishop will be trapped. Rook h1, taking the h7 pawn, and most importantly, after h6, black cannot play g6 and get rid of our strong rook on h5 because h6 will hang. And now we are attacking the d5 pawn with our two minor pieces. Knight f1, knight goes to e3, but before playing knight e3, g3 we play, so opponent cannot play bishop f4 because we have a pawn on g3. Next, king go to a safer position because rook is on e8. King f3, bishop c7, we bring the bishop, bishop c2, bishop b3, king goes to a safe position, and then when with our last piece we cannot attack opponent weakness, with our last piece we attack another pawn, and suddenly because opponent pieces are busy with defending one pawn, they cannot defend another pawn. And after rook h4, with the idea to play rook f4, and then rook g4, black lost a pawn. Hopefully you can use these ideas in your games. Avetik was with you, and before saying you goodbye, I am going to offer you to solve one position. Here is white to move, and I have 3 questions. First, what is opponent's next move? Second, what we should play here? And third, what is going to be the plan? You can answer in the comments section. Champions, if you want to support, the best thing you can do is use these ideas and apply in your games. If you want to do more, you can share with your friends or just subscribe to our channel. Avetik was with you. See you tomorrow during the next daily lesson.